Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Life Mastery Lounge podcast. And today I have a very, very special guest here with me. Bénédicte Flouriot is an ICF certified coach, entrepreneur, and explorer of human potential whose career has taken her across industries and continents. She began in luxury hospitality and global brands such as Marriott International and Accor, where she worked on hotel and restaurant openings, market development, and brand growth in fast-paced international environments. Over time, a deeper curiosity about people and their inner journeys led her toward coaching and personal transformation. Today, she designs experiences that combine strategy, introspection, and creativity. Through her signature program, Horizons Stellar, she helps French-speaking women living abroad in finding their place in the professional sphere. Geographical mobility often disrupts one's sense of identity and becomes an opportunity to reconnect with oneself through both physical travel and the inner journey of Horizon Stellars. She also offers one-on-one coaching to help navigate all types of professional transitions in both French and English, and helps individuals reconnect with their authentic aspirations and gain clarity about the direction they want to take in life and work. Benedicte also brings a unique dimension to personal growth through what she calls cooking therapy. I love that. Using sensory experiences and creativity to help people unlock insights and new possibilities. A full-time nomad who has lived across Europe, the Middle East, and the Americas, she now works globally, guiding individuals and leaders as they navigate professional transitions and create more meaningful paths forward. Wow, what a resume. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Sarah. I was saying earlier, I'm super happy to be here and have a deep, profound, interesting conversation with you today.
Thank you so much. You're so kind for being with us. And where are you? Just out of curiosity.
So currently I'm in Paraguay, in Asuncion, which is the capital of Paraguay. So Paraguay is a country which is a little bit low key. Not many people know about it. Just to let you know, it's located between Bolivia, Brazil, and Argentina. And yeah, it's my third visit. I arrived a week ago, so I'm still adjusting, settling down, but very happy to be here.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so we kind of went over your professional path, but who is Bénédicte Flouriot? Who?
That's the question, the big question. I've been trying for so many years to give a response to.
I'm giving you the floor. It's yours.
Ah,
Go.
um, who am I? So I think there is a lot of obviously that you've already shared in my bio. Um, I think something that is very key and core to me is curiosity and freedom. I think those two things have really led me exploring different paths, personal and professional. I have this eagerness to understand things, people, situations, and yeah, without judgment, just because it's different, or they think differently, or I would have never thought about doing this like that. And I don't know, there is some kind of admiration, fascination that I see when people do things differently, and freedom because I don't, maybe because I'm French. That comes from, you know. But it's yeah, I think it's important for me to honor the freedom that was given to me. I was lucky enough to be born in France. I had amazing women around me, educating me as well to be independent, free woman. And I think I've heard in the past many people commenting on the fact that I drive my life the way I want it. And I think it's something that I sometimes don't celebrate enough, but it's true. I've made the choices, not always easy, but to live the life that is me, that really, represents who I am. And I think that's the real freedom to make choices that evolve and change always, and I think we're going to cover that as well. But yeah, for me, that's the real freedom.
Well, I think we're done here because you're just living the lives we all want to live, right? The one that you really want and that honors who you really are. And that sounds really nice and everything, but it's not easy, is it? It's not always
No, it's
easy,
not.
right? It's not always easy. I mean, ultimately, it's the goal, I want to say, but it does have its challenges, I suppose. And talking about French, I completely butchered the name of your program. So, what is it really?
Not at all. It's in English, it's Stellar Horizons,
Mhm.
and in French, it would be Horizon Stellaire. But you said it perfectly.
There you go. See, I'm working on my French though. Um, Benedict, you mentioned that you've reinvented yourself roughly every 10 years, right? So, looking back at your journey, what has that process of reinvention looked like for you?
Yeah, it's just to maybe connect to what we were saying earlier about freedom and making choices that align with who you are at a specific moment in your life. I think I feel life is all about, I was conditioned by my social background, my culture, my family, my education, and it's wonderful. And at the same time, not everything was chosen. And so at some point, it's like, I want to keep that, but I don't like this part of me or of my conditioning, and I want to get rid of it. And so I feel life is like I'm removing layers and layers and layers of this conditioning over and over until I can finally come back to the core of the person that I am. And so, it's like every 10 years, there is a big layer that is being put aside. And in my 20s, I remember being still that person who really wanted to please the family, please the social expectations, but also because when you're in your 20s, you don't know yourself very well. So you were given a framework, a context, and you try to navigate inside that context to become who you want to be, who you think you want to be. But there are limitations because it's a specific context that was given to you that you haven't chosen. And then you start experiencing life, and life is wonderful because of that. Is that by doing, experimenting, that's where you get a better sense of what works for you or not. And so in my 30s, I think I knew myself better. And that's when I realized, oh, by the way, maybe I can open the door to, maybe there is a door in that playground framework, and there is maybe a different way of doing things, or there is maybe a different context I can design for myself that would align much better with who I am. And so I think my 30s was very much about that. And now I'm in my 40s, and I'm like, damn it, it's like all over again. I thought it was over. No, it's never over. So now it's like I have, this knowledge about myself. I have experienced life in different ways. And it's like I have many more ingredients to create the right recipe for me. And at the same time, I'm in my 40s and there are still conditioning. It's like there were certain expectations in your 20s, others in your 30s, and now in your 40s. And so even now, I surprise myself having to debate with myself and to find a way to keep removing those layers. So, yeah.
Really? It's so interesting. Oh my gosh. I love that, the conditioning that you talk about. And also I want to mention that well, of course it's all over again and it starts all over again. Would it be any fun any other way?
True.
If we just knew everything. I study Bob Proctor's work and a lot of mindset work, and he says that when we're not creating, we're disintegrating. So I just, it is what it is. We have to keep moving, and we always want more, and it feels like we always want more. We're always doing more, but actually, it's it's because when we are settled or when we're just satisfied, we're not growing, are we? We're just stagnant there.
Mhm.
So I think it's interesting.
It's interesting because I think that's maybe the kind of conflict I'm going through in my 40s, which is willing to build on what I've built all those years and find some kind of stability where I feel I don't have anything to prove anymore, and I know myself and I know what I want. And it's very important for me to get that balance. And at the same time, you still want a little bit of excitement and newness and discovery and growth, but I don't want, as much growth maybe as, when I was back in my 20s. So it's juggling, dancing with those two aspects that I find interesting, but sometimes challenging.
Yeah. I have a question though. When you talk about the the expectations and you always want to achieve what you put yourself up to achieve, is it with yourself or is it expectations of other people, of society, of other things?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of all of that. Like when I talk about my expectations, it's more, being aligned with my vision of life, my ambition, the just to get again better at being just the person that I am. But then even though I feel very content and free in my life, you always have people commenting. You always have people having an opinion. You always have people, projecting their fears on you. You always have that. So even though, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's yours. Sometimes, it plants
It
a seed
rubs,
somehow.
yes, it rubs a little bit, right? And you're like,
Yeah, so it's like learning to be like, okay, this is yours. I'm keeping my own thing, but and at the same time, it's wonderful. It's because it invites me to redefine again and again, am I at the right place? Is it the right choice? Should I consider what I've heard or not at all? It's a badly wrapped gift. Let's put it like that.
let's go with that. Okay. You also spoke about how our relationship to work evolves over time. What do you see changing between, the 20s, 30s, and 40s when it comes to career or ambition and what we believe we should have accomplished? Because I love that you said this, that for you, it's been in layers and you've been shedding them. So not everybody has that insight. So how how would someone look at it and try to understand it, if you will?
Mm. I'm gonna share my own journey, which is mine, and I'm gonna build on that to answer your question. I think in my 20s, I was this very extremely driven, ambitious young lady. Work was so important to me. Um, you know, Family was not a topic. Personal stuff were not a topic. It was work, 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 and I wanted to realize myself through that. And I don't know, and maybe it comes as well from my, social background, my family background. So for me, I had a very, very specific ambition that was to, climb the ladders, to do something work-wise, but at the same time, I didn't know really what it meant. So I had this vision that was very blurry. And I remember I wanted to be head of a department before 30. I wanted to manage a team, have a, a kind of important position in a company. And by 29, I reached that. And I worked so hard, like I gave it all, and I reached that. And then I'm like, and so what, And so that's actually after that I finally took time to get to know myself better, that I've created more space to reflect on life, my ambitions, who I am, and so on, to make better choices in the future. But it's funny. I mean, work has been and will always be important to me because I love what I do, because we spend so much time at work, so it's better when you enjoy what you do. And I know some people don't, unfortunately. I'm lucky with that. But it's like it's becoming more and more one area of my life that is as equal as the other areas of my life, when before it was probably the center of everything, and it was really taking the entire space. And I think it always comes back to that, the fact that I didn't know who I was. So I was trying to find my own way, understanding who I am, what I want, listening to what was around me, what was suggested to me, and trying to make a recipe out of that. But it was not very tasty. Let's put it like that. And so if I had one advice that I would give to a young person, and to anyone, to be honest, is to spend time to get to know who you are. If I were to do things differently, I would probably, right after high school, go travel and experience life, and then decide if I want to go to the university or not, pursue my studies or not, and what to do and why. Because I think the why has been lost for many years because I didn't know who I was. So I was doing things just because. But things change when you have a clear direction and you know exactly why you're doing this.
Yeah, but you know, it's it's also, I think, worth mentioning that in your early 20s this wasn't talked about, and like you said, it was about having a career, it was about fulfillment. And for me, I am a bit older than you, but for me, I remember that it was all about having that career, and you'll find your fulfillment there, because if you don't, what else is there, right? Your
Yeah.
family, maybe your kids. But at that time, it was no longer in to be a stay-at-home mom. That was my dream. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. You know, anyone, a woman that didn't have a career or didn't have a path outlined for herself, she was just, you know, it wasn't normal. So I'm glad that today we do talk more about finding out who we are, and give credit to that. Because, and don't get me wrong, I had a lot of different not careers, but jobs and things through my life. I cannot forget that when I decided to leave work and come home and start my own business, I was 50 years old. And the hardest thing for me was figuring out who I was without having a paycheck at the end of the month. And that was so hard. And I was already in the self development space and I was doing the work. Um, but it was so hard for me to let go of that because, like you said, I've been conditioned from very early age that, you work because you need money to pay your bills, and that's it. You don't need to feel fulfilled in your job. You have to figure it out. You just have to figure it out. So I'm glad that today we see things differently. If you
Yeah, definitely. There was a different context for sure, and I've been working a lot with with young people when they just enter the job market, and ambitions are different, the lookout on life is different, and yeah, they are more equipped than we were. It's more normal, if I may say. I don't know if there is some kind of normality, but
Yeah.
it's more accepted to reflect on yourself, to change industry or job more often than before. Like there is much more flexibility, I feel, than back in, for us. And it's interesting what you're saying as well, because I was reflecting on that yesterday, especially when I say I change life every 10 years. Yesterday I was reflecting and I was like, okay, this is my new 10 year. I'm at the beginning of it. And I realized, how much sometimes you can be attached to a dream or something that was making sense before, but doesn't necessarily make sense now. So part of the conditioning is also the conditioning you create with yourself. And the fact that sometimes you are very loyal to dreams that made sense at a specific time back then, but doesn't make sense now. And so what you're sharing around, your own path around who am I, without a paycheck, it's, I'm kind of going through that at the moment as well, because I'm still exploring what is that new chapter for me. Like, there are things that are very stable. I've developed those past years, it's there, it's business as usual, let's say it like that. But then, what's new, and that's where I'm like, oh, but I'm 40 plus, and I really know who I am? Do I really know what I want now in that chapter of my life? And that's very interesting, because it's never set, in stone, never.
Yeah, and like you were saying, well, we evolve through the years. All these layers that we live, we create others, right? And we move in the era we are in, and so we start observing all the other things and getting attached to other things and being conditioned by other things at the same time. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so many women listening might feel the desire for a change, but they don't really know where to start. Now, from your own experience, what helps someone successfully transition from one sector to another, or to evolve within the same field? What does she need?
Yeah. Self-awareness and movement. So I see it very important to be in your being and your doing. Two things that should be, aligned as much as you can all the time. And it's like going back and forth from who am I to I'm experimenting something and see how I feel. And then I go back to the self-awareness. So for me, it's dreaming and checking the reality. It's doing some introspection, but then doing something actionable and concrete. So there is something that is extremely powerful in movement. It's if I stay put and I don't do anything, I'm never gonna taste something that I may like or may not like. And unless I live it, I experiment it, I will never know. But at the same time, I don't want to just do things to do them out of nowhere. I want to do them from a reflection, from a place that makes sense to me. So for me, it's very much this. It's where do I start? Know yourself better. Make an audit of who you are today in that chapter of your life. That includes your personality traits, your values, your interests, your emotions at the moment, your competencies, all of that, your limitations, and making an audit of that and see what is one step I can take out of that and experiment in the reality of things, what it is to be like this in a new position, in a new sector, so for me it's very much most people would do a lot of introspective work, and they would think and dream and have plenty of ideas, but they never do anything about it. And some other people are doers, they can't stay still, so they would do things, try, experiment, this is amazing, until they hit a wall, because this is not them, because they never took the time to really think, what they really want. So to me, that's extremely important. And then to rely on what I called allies. So we all have our network, small or big, it doesn't matter. But who are those people that when, we are in a place where we want to create a change, who are those people that can help? They can help because they can offer a space just for brainstorming and talking. They can help because they can connect you to someone else. They can help because they have a complete different life, a complete different perception, of who you are, what you do, and they can just help you open your perspective and horizons. So for me, it's self-awareness, action, and your network. That's extremely important.
And you talked about horizon. That's what you do in your program, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much. So I actually built it that way. So it's a whole coaching program that actually comes with two workbooks. I really wanted something that was physical, something that could look like your personal diary, but it's for your professional thoughts and ideas, and really use the introspective writing as a technique for personal development. And so there are two books, because there is one that is dedicated to dreaming and self-awareness. So when I want to reflect and think about a transition, I need to go back to what I want the most, what I, and I feel, unfortunately, over the years, more we grow up and less we dream, or we don't make as much space for dreaming. So that's a time for, no, I'm going back to my dreams. I'm going back to what I wish would be the best for me, until I can build a project that makes sense and align, obviously, with the context and the professional market. But so it's one workbook around that. And after reading and going through all the different exercises and propositions that I make, you leave with a few ideas and few projects that are perfectly aligned with who you are. And then it's time to go back to the reality, and I'm going to confront those ideas and projects to, like I said, the professional market, to more concrete things. And so by the end of the second workbook, you leave with a plan of action that you just need to apply to make your professional transition. So it's a whole journey. Two workbooks. It also comes with physical accessories. I wanted something more, that would include gamification and something more playful. So you have a set of cards that you have to pick. You have a wheel of I can show it to you, actually.
Please.
It's here. And for me, it was important because all those questions are like serious and heavy and intense and important. And yes, they are important, but it doesn't mean that they have to be heavy. It can be fun to redesign your professional life. So yeah, you have those.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
Design, yeah.
Imagining, dreaming is fun, seriously.
It is.
So yeah, you have this one that is in the blue colors, because I open people to dream and to fly in the sky and open their horizons as big as the universe can be. And then at some point, it's time to go back on Earth. So that's why the workbook is made in that color, where you want to confront your dream to the reality. And so it's a lot of different propositions, where you can write, you can design. There are a lot of exercises that would tackle the intellectual part of your system. Some will tap into your emotions, and some more in your physical sensations. And so, yeah, you have different cards. So you have those ones that are more about, well, I feel I've done a lot of introspection. I feel I'm stagnating a little bit. I need some movement. Then I'm going to pick a card. At the back, you have a competency you work on. You have a context that is established, and then the proposition that I make. And the idea is to take action right away from the moment you pick the card. And then you have other cards that are in that color, and it's on the contrary for someone who's being, very much active and actually needs time to take care of themselves, to slow down, and therefore you would pick a card like this. And then you have this planet which helps you review your values and your life priorities, and where the work is, like I was saying earlier, one area of your life, but you obviously need balance in your entire life to be fulfilled. It's not just about work. So it's a program that would really look at yourself from, every angle, with a red line, which is the work and your professional change. That's what I call the constellation of allies. So that's basically where you can choose who are all those people, that are part of your network, part of your constellation, and you can name them. You can put their name, your relationship to them, and how they can support you and help you out. And at the back, you have this, which is basically the universe. And the idea is so you have the chapters that are named everywhere, and it's a way for you to map out where you stand in the program, and make sure that you know exactly where you stand, because it's a program that lasts 3 to 6 months, because you need time. Obviously, time for me is your best friend in those occasions, because it also helps you digest, mature thing, take a step back, reflect before you can really make a decision. And so this comes with an online platform. For each proposition I make, you have an audio. So it's my voice that I have recorded, and it's offering an additional instructions or a personal story or a client testimonial, just to give more texture as well to the propositions and more information. And the idea is to have, because it's a semi-guided program, so the people do it on their own, but they always have me in the background with those audios, and I'm always available through email and WhatsApp unlimitedly, so they can contact me all the time when they have a question, a limitation, a celebration to share. And now we're putting together all the participants so they can also exchange ideas, exchange network contacts. And we meet once a month around a specific topic, where I again use, the introspective writing technique to debate, explore a specific topic that I see is happening in the group or that is related directly with the program.
It's amazing. I love that. I have a question. So
Sure.
earlier on, you said that you work a lot with younger people. Who would who is this program targeting right now?
So right now I'm targeting mostly women, French women who live abroad. It's basically the niche that I've been supporting, for the past 10 years. Now it's just that I'm offering a different format. For me, it's a way to redesign myself as well and offer coaching from a different perspective. You can always add individual coaching sessions to the program as well, so it's very flexible. But yeah, I feel women who like right now, I have a few women in their 40s as well. They recently changed country. They had to take their family over with them. It requires time to settle. It requires time to settle when you're alone, but when you have a family, it's a different story. And so at some point, the changing country would come shaken a lot of things inside of you. It's like suddenly it's me in France, it's me in Canada, it's me in Paraguay, it's me in South Africa, but it's me without being me, or it's a new me, or there are different areas of who I am that are being more I don't know, engaged in that specific country, and the other ones that were more present in another country are less present. And so it's finding your new place. I have to find my new place in a new country, and I have to find my new place in the work life as well, because of that mobility and that geographical transition. So for me, there is so much interesting things Earlier I was talking about self-awareness and movement. Well, traveling is movement, and so I'm forced to move and to be in a complete new context that, yes, I have chosen, but at the end of the day, there are so many things new around me that then I have no choice but to look at me, to get myself even better or differently. And so I want to support all those women who are actually going through that, because it's not easy. It's very uncomfortable, and it's like everything is changing, uh, including as well, your place in the world, your place in the professional world. So that's my target, and at the same time, it's a wonderful tool for young people who don't know themselves very well, because it's very playful. It's very you have lots of fun exercises. You like writing, you write. You don't like writing, you do a collage, or you draw, or I provide a lot of tables and diagrams as well. So there is a bit of everything for everyone. And I love working as well with women entrepreneurs who are thinking about coming back to the employment posture, and had their load of challenges and experiences as an entrepreneur, but as are considering shifting back to being employed in a company for many different reasons, and most of the time because there is a family involved.
It's amazing. I love that. And I asked because I was thinking of um, a lot of young people who are um, debating what they're going to do after college, after the university, or even if they're going to university. And so there's a lot of people, young people, that could really use some guidance, and I don't feel that they're having it right now, because again, they are conditioned, and then there are expectations from everybody in their life. Even if they are trying to, sometimes it can be hard to voice what's going on and how you really feel, right? And so I feel that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I really enjoy that. Now I have another question.
You're full of questions. I love that. I love that.
Oh my gosh, I have questions. My
Are you a
questions
coach?
have questions. My questions have questions. Um, when are we gonna have this in English?
Everybody keeps asking that. Soon. Well, there is a waiting list for people who are interested in it. I've just recently launched this program, so I'm pretty much, focusing on the French version now, to make sure that it's launched and solid, and then it just takes a nice, easy pace. But then definitely there will be an English version as well. I created it, so sometimes I have a hard time taking a step back and knowing whether it's good or not.
No.
Uh, you're so much into it. I read things, but it doesn't get to my brain anymore. But all the feedback I receive from the current participants is really good. Like it's I think, again, coming back to the self-awareness, it's extremely useful. There is again, I've created a safe, secure playground in which everybody who's different can play, so there are rules, there are suggestions, but then they can, change the rules and do and find their own path the way they want. But yeah, I've had many requests in English as well, so it's coming. And
Good.
you can be on the wait list. Yeah.
Um, I'll put all the links for that, for the French version, and also for the wait list, and where people can connect with you on the show notes. So
Sure. Thank you.
okay, so now I have a few rapid fire questions for you. Are you game?
I love playing. Of course, I love playing. Let's go.
Of course you do. Okay. A word that defines this season of your life.
Question. Like I always had a lot of questions in my life, but I feel right now there is a big question mark, on many things. But it's a question mark that is very hopeful and light and curious again, to be like, okay, there are lots of questions, but I'm curious to see what's that gonna lead me to. So yeah,
That's
that's the
amazing.
word.
That's a book or quote that has shaped you.
So when I did my career change 10 years ago to become a coach, I loved this quote from Confucius, which is a bit, I guess it's becoming cheesy because everybody knows about it. But it says, you will never have to work a day in your life from the moment, you just enjoy and love what you do. And I don't know, it stayed with me until now because again, in your 20s, in your 30s, you also work because you want to establish yourself financially wise as well. And in your 40s, you are more established most of the time. And so now I have more space to also look at things from a place of joy, a place of satisfaction. Every day, it's like, okay, is what I'm doing enjoyable? Am I at the right place? Is it bringing me pleasure or not? So yeah, that definitely stayed with me all those years.
Something simple that makes you feel grounded.
Nature, always. Like I'm a big fan of nature. From the moment I step in the forest or in the mountain, I just feel I belong there. It's like nothing is important anymore. It's just you and the nature, and it's very. I love hiking, so it's always I do a lot of meditative walks,
Those are the
and
best.
it's very helpful.
Okay, last one. What does self-care look like for you right now?
It's essential, super important. I think I learned that in the hard way. And over the past few years, like I was telling you, I was a hard worker and not always taking care of myself. When now it's like essential if I want to pursue my activities, if I want to be regulated emotionally wise, if I want. So I'm very, very careful with that. That includes my space where I live. That includes how I eat. Sports is extremely important, so I make sure I have not necessarily exercising every day, but something that allows me to connect with my body, my sensations, and my emotions, because my work is very much mental, it's very intellectual. I spend most of my time behind the computer, so then I need to realign, the other parts of me. So it can be Pilates, it can be drawing. It can be, I do a lot of biodanza, which is a self-expressive dance where you connect with others and you don't learn how to dance. It's more using movement and music to tap into your sensations and get to know yourself from that perspective. I go to the nature every week. I hike, I run, but I try not to have like a schedule, but to be more connected to what do I feel like doing now. I like yesterday night I felt like going for a run, which I never do by night. And yesterday I was like, yeah, I want to go for a run, so let's do that. But it's more about realigning. We have four bodies: spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and making sure that they're balanced enough.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes, and I feel that we're always chasing that. And then sometimes we have all these routines and suddenly it's one more thing that's overwhelming us because we feel we have to keep up with all these things, while we could just be so flexible as to go for a run or a walk or do some biking or whatever, or dance even, without
Yeah.
the strain of having naming it, we never need to. Benedict, thank you so much for having been my guest today, for being with us. I absolutely love this, and time just flew by.
No, that's crazy. Well,
So,
thank you so much for inviting me. It was lovely to have this conversation, and yeah, I'm sure we could have more and more and more.
just before we go, tell everyone how they can connect with you, even though I will leave all the links below.
Sure. You can get in touch with me by email. So the easiest way would be contact at benedictecoaching.com, Benedict with a E at the end. You can connect with me on Instagram if you want to follow my traveling adventures. My Instagram is called Bene is on the road. Bene is short for Benedict. And you have Horizon Stellaire also if you want to follow the program and see what it looks like. And obviously my website, horizonstellaire.com.
Thank you so much again for being with us. Safe travels.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. See you soon.